Hey, what up everyone, this is Mondo Day back with another video, and in this video I'll be going over my build guide for Angela. I'll be going over which artifacts I use, which uniques I use, which medallion, as well as go over the power points, where I placed them, the omegas, and hero synergies, and at the very end show you my rotation, kind of give you some pointers as far as how to play with Angela, and also kind of give you some tips as far as how to pass Cosmic Trial with Angela. So let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to look at are the artifacts. So the artifacts I use is Black Cat's Advanced Grappling Hook. I'm using this for the +1 fighting, the dodge rating, damage rating to bosses, critical hit rating, move speed, and damage rating to movement powers. Not so much of the movement powers, but everything else is good. Then I use White Suit Jacket for the defense rating, damage rating, and health. Then I use Scroll Defender's Medallion for the 504 deflect rating, +1 strength and health. But more importantly, when you hit with the melee power and physical power, you gain +2 fighting, but also 2 when you have the melee power, you get increase of dodge rating, and also 2 when you hit with the physical power, you gain defense rating as well to increase. And that's perfect because she is a melee. This is a melee build, so she is a bit melee, and so you want the defense to go up because again, when you're melee, you do a lot of up close combat. So yeah. Then I use personal Spider Clone Serum for the +1 fighting, the damage rating to bosses, the health regeneration, and the damage rating. Last but not least, I'm using Ultra Bi-Level Concussion Projector for the damage rating versus the slow status targets, the brutal damage increase, which is a lot, and everything else. And 3% chance that when you hit to deal over 100,000 physical damage. So that's pretty decent, but everything else is good. Now regarding the uniques, I use all of her uniques except for one. I use Coat of the Skull, excuse me. That's the third unique, slot number 3. I changed it because her slot number 3 unique emphasized more on different powers that I use, and so this would be a perfect unique because this one gives you not only increase of health, but brutal strike rating, brutal damage rating, power duration, but more importantly, damage rating to elites, champions, and boss increase. So that's good, especially if you want to. When you're doing Cosmic Trial, you want the extra damage to your bosses, like Lady Hydra or whatever, and Red Skull. And also, too, when you critical hit, you gain the power. You gain 360 damage rating, +1 strength, not so much energy because she's not really energy based, and +1 intelligence. So that's pretty good. And then for the ring, I have Industrial City Ring melee. I'm using this for the critical hit rating to melee powers, attack speed, and critical damage rating and health. For the costume, grade 1 through 4. As always, critical damage rating. And for the core, I have it where I gain +1 strength, durability, and extra health. You want that durability because again, she is a melee. This is a melee build, and so when you do melee, you do a lot of close combat, so you want that extra defense and extra health. And for Insignia, I'm using Eric of Greatest Insignia for when you critical hit, you and your allies gain 294 damage rating, but also you gain 73 spirit and brutal strike rating increase. And for the pet, I have only one thing, which is strength, +3 strength. So everything else is missing except for that. And then for the forged, I have 800 defense rating, and I have a blessed where I gain +1 durability, defense rating increase in health. And again, I'm hoping you see the pattern already, which I increase the durability.
I've been lied to all my life. Why should I expect anything but disappointment?
Because again, she is a lot of she's melee, so you want to be, increase your defense. And for legendary, I'm using Savage Axe for the physical damage rating, critical hit rating, brutal strike rating, and brutal damage rating. So yeah, let's get right into the PowerPoint. Before that, let me change the audio really second here. Sorry about that. It's a little too loud. It won't take too long. There you go. So for the PowerPoints, I'm using Rage of Sisyphos, max that out. Leader of the Hunt, passive, max it out. Living Ribbons, 6 there, and have it to wear Barrage. Angela's Ribbons become enraged, causing Living Ribbons to double their attack rate, which is very useful. Daughter of Odin, it's a passive, max that out. Know My Name and Weep, melee, max that out. Icarus Wrath, max that out. Signature, I'll of course max that out. Angelic Smite, max that out. and then Heaven's Fury, maxed it out. Omegas, again, I use around 3,000. In this case, I use around 3,600 or so, give or take. Actually, 3,600 to be exact, so what a coincidence. So let's get right into it. Arcane Entombment, Interstellar Exploration. 1 for Karantara for the damage rating to normal and elite increase. Earth for the base damage increase. 2 to Sakar for the deflect rating and melee damage rating. And then Hala, 3 there for the damage rating, brutal strike rating, critical hit rating to physical powers. Special weapons. 1 for shield advancement. Oh, not so much there, but 1 for shield medical support. When you use a medikit, you gain 300 health. Again, she's melee, so you want that health to be regenerating. 3 to Warpath for the fighting. 3 to Frenzy for when you hit with a melee power, you gain critical damage rating. As always, for any melee character, I usually use A-Bomb, Harpy, and Lyra. I don't want to read all of it, but the short version with A-Bomb, when you hit with the melee power, you become invisible and you increase your damage rating, and then so forth. So, Nanotechnology, 5 to Spin Tech for the damage rating to bosses. Human augmentation, excuse me. 3 to Reaver Program for the physical damage increase. 3 to I can't even pronounce this. X-Tech Up. Cybernetic body upgrades. 3 there for the physical damage rating and for the physical defense rating. 2 to Deathlock Program for the physical damage rating. 1 for Adamantium Lace Skin for the physical defense rating increase, and then the total physical defense rating. Omega Death Spores, 1 there for a 5% chance to hit to deal 18,000 in physical damage rating. And then 3 to Weapon X for the brutal strike rating increase, critical hit rating to melee powers increase, and then physical defense rating increase. Psionics, 5 to Melt Face for the brutal damage rating, and then 1 for Focus Strength of Groom for the +7 strength. Molecular Adjustment to 1 for Terrigen Crystals. Well, actually, I was going to use Terrigenesis, but I don't have enough, so. Neural Enhancement, 3 to Tactical Neural Implant for the critical damage rating, and then melee critical hit rating increase. And that should be all. Am I correct? Yeah. Hero Synergies. Black Panther for the move speed increase, and then the melee power damage increase. Colossus for the health increase and physical damage increase. Doctor Doom for the signature increase. Elektra for the physical damage increase and damage rating to bosses increase. Luke Cage for the total defense rating increase, physical damage increase. Moon Knight for the critical rating to physical powers. Nightcrawler for the melee powers increase. Taskmaster for the total deflect and dodge increase, and then critical damage rating and melee power damage. War Machine for the spirit increase, 1+1 fighting, and then Wolverine for the brutal strike rating and brutal damage rating. You can also use a different one. You can probably maybe remove Taskmaster and then use probably X-23 because X-23 increases your damage rating versus bleeding enemies, since Angela does cause bleeding. So you can that, or maybe replace Nightcrawler, but you can use also X-23, or also Ant-Man for the +1 strength. It's up to you. Perfect. So now let's get into the rotation. She's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. She is pretty fast. And then for team up, I am using was this your Ms. Marvel? I thought it was Kamala Khan or something like that. I don't know, but I'm using Ms. Marvel in this case. But I thought it was Kamala Khan or something. I can't pronounce her name, but anyways. So let's get right into it. So before I get into it, the power is how I have it set up. Rending Blades, basic. Know My Name Weep. Iger's Wrath. Rage of Xiphos, Heaven's Fury, Angelic Smite, and Signature, and then obviously Heavenly Charge. That's her movement. And then I have Take Flight for flying. And then I have Leader of the Hunt. Active is crowd control immunity. And then I have Living Ribbons toggled on. Just to get a couple things out the way. You want living weapons. I put 6 there because think of it as like extra damage, kind of similar to Iron Man, where you have the toggle with like sends out missiles automatically. Same thing with ribbons. So I have it to where I have it set to for barrage. Again, increases it causes the doubles their attack rate. So, and it's pretty strong as is. So hence why I just have it, but I only play 6 because I don't really rely on that. So I'm just noting that right now. So I have that toggled on. And so whenever I'm in enemies for Cosmogel, I try to activate this as soon as possible. That way I get crowd control immunity. So, in terms of my rotation, it's pretty simple, to be honest with you. My first rotation, probably my first tip, is usually use Angelic Smite first, then Heaven's Fury. Because Angelic Smite does area damage and bleed. And so with that combined with Heaven's Fury, you do a lot of area damage. So I'm going to show you, usually when I do Cosmo Trial, and when I'm going to be fighting a lot of enemies, something like this, like if it was like Cosmo Trial and had a bunch of these enemies here, see the ribbons, that's automatically. Like I was saying, whenever, let me turn this off. Whenever we have enemies here, and want to do like a lot of large area damage, what I usually do first is Angelic Smite first, because it does area damage, and then after that you use Heaven's Fury, because Heaven's Fury does area damage as well too, and she moves around a lot of really fast. So I guess my first rotation per se is Angelic Smite, and then do Heaven's Fury. So it looks something like this. It does a lot of area damage, and the great thing about it is that since you're moving a lot, you become invulnerable. So that's pretty good too. Okay, so that's the first rotation. Is again, it's Angelic Smite and Heaven's Fury. Combine these two. When you have a lot of enemies, try to use Angelic Smite and Heaven's Fury together, because it does a lot of area damage. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, the second thing I usually do is the rest of the powers, and the way I do it is pretty straightforward. Know My Name, Anchor's Wrath, and Rage of Sixfoes. I do these after I do my first rotation, which is Angelic Smite and then Heaven's Fury. Ideally, what I usually do, and I would advise is for you guys, is when you do land Angelic Smite and then Heaven's Fury, try to do it to an enemy that you want to do massive damage, and then shortly after, when Heaven's Fury is done, activate the rest of the powers, which is Know, Anchor's Wrath, and then Rage of Sixfoes. So it looks something like this. Let's say I want to do damage to this person right here. I would do activate Angelic Smite on him, then do Heaven's Fury. That way it does a lot of area damage, and then after that do my second rotation, which is Know, Iker's, Rage, and that's it. So it looks something like this. See that? And then all you do once everything's a cooldown, just use your Rending Blades, which is your basic. Just keep doing damage. That's why, if you notice, I put a lot of emphasis on defense rating, durability, because again, she's melee, she can be a little fragile. Keep that in mind. So hence why I wanted that durability to increase. Okay, so do it again. Combining the second rotation with my first rotation is simple. Whenever I land in an area, I usually try to pick a target that I want to do a lot of damage. My advice would be try to pick a target where there's a lot of enemies around that particular target, so that way when you land Angelic Smite and Heaven's Fury, not only does it do damage to that specific enemy, but also too, when you're done using your first rotation, then you can activate the second rotation. So again, let's say I want to do damage to a specific person. First rotation, which is Angelic, Heavens, and then after do Know My Name, Know My Name, Iker, and then Rage. So let's say I want to do this person again. There we go. Boom, just like that, and it causes bleed too. See that? That's usually my rotations. Now, I kind of covered some of the powers a little bit. The reason why I chose Ribbon is because Angelic Smite increases 10% damage to Ribbon powers for 4 seconds, so that's very useful. So if you activated the toggle for Living Ribbons, it's going to increase, when you do Angelic Smite, it's going to increase 10% damage to that. And this alone, with just 6, it does almost 50,000 damage, so that's pretty good. But I don't really rely on that. I just rely on that just to get the extra damage. And honestly, that's really my rotation. It's pretty. I know it's pretty simple. Some people might think it's pretty boring, but that's really it. To be completely honest with you, some of these powers, and I'll go over these powers not too in detail, but I'm just gonna give you an understanding why I chose these powers. Know my name. Simple. It does one single target damage, but also two 40% increase against vulnerable enemies. That's always a plus. So it does 40% increase the damage, which is very good. Ikers, has a lot of information, but this one does a lot of damage. I'm showing you how look. Does a little bit of area too, not so much. But execute what this power does is you have execute, which plus 1% damage per 1% of target's missing health. So if they have 30% health, you get 30% extra damage rating. Missing health versus bleeding, vulnerable, or weakened enemies. If this power defeats its target, the cooldown of all Assassin's Armory powers are reset. So that includes these right here. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them. Okay, so read it to you again. Not in detail, but this power, when you activate it, it executes 1% damage per 1% of target's missing health versus bleeding, vulnerable, or weakened enemies. And then if you, let's say you activate this power and you execute someone, right? With this power, if you execute someone with this particular power, it resets all the powers from Assassin's Armory right here. It resets all of them. So let's just say you decide to use, maybe not use Heaven's Fury and Angelic Smite, and you want to use more of Assassin's Armory. Perfect, even better, because when you activate the rest of the powers, if you execute someone with Iker's Wrath, it resets all the cooldown of Assassin's Armory powers, resets them all, and then you can reactivate those powers again. Again, small little perk. For me, I don't really care too much about that, but again, I'm just explaining to you guys, that way you guys can see it. And the next one is Rage of Xiphos. I like this because it does quite a bit of damage. It does bleeding too. The only unfortunate thing though, it does it's a single target as well too. Hence why a lot of these, majority of our strong powers are single targets, but hence why I emphasize that in the first rotation, make sure you pick a single target. That way when you land the first rotation, which is Angelic and Heaven's Fury, when you land No and Rage, you can do a lot of damage to that specific enemy you want to defeat, or you want to reduce their power, their health. Because again, they do a lot of damage. Rage does a lot of damage. Know My Name does a lot of damage, but unfortunately they're just single targets. So keep that in mind. Iker's is also a single target, but it does a little bit of area. Obviously, Angelic and Heavens does a lot of area. But again, my advice is if you were to utilize this build, when you want to use Angelic and Heavens, make sure you have a target in mind you want to do massive damage, and then just land it, and then do the secondary power. Area. Cool. So that's my first and second rotation. And a little tip too. Now, the signature, I'm going to show you how it looks really quick, so you guys can see how it looks. So, and her signature, it's activated 3 times. So there's 3 different moves. Okay, so I'll show you how it looks like. The first one is, okay. Second is, third, the ribbon. Okay, probably the third is the most strongest one. So my advice is don't use it right away. My advice would be to take your time with it, but don't take your time too much, because again, it can kind of reset itself from what I've seen and what I played with. Don't quote me on that, but I would say make sure, how can I put it? Because her signature is strong, but it's not the strongest, to be honest with you. I mean, look at yourself. It's not that strong, and so I say that because don't rely on that too much. And so make sure, it kind of goes to my first rotation, make sure when you use a signature, make sure that you have a specific target you want to do massive damage, That way, when you do it, that particular target gets the massive damage. It's not that strong. It's not weak, but it's not strong. When I first started playing with her, I used up all my Omegas. Even with the signature, I was barely getting 3 million hits, 3 million damage. And then with other characters, even there's a couple of times with Know My Name was doing way more massive damage, or even close to, not way more, but a little over, just a bit over more damage than my signature. But yeah, this is just a regular power, and so it's not the strongest signature. So my advice would be is have a specific target that you want to do damage and activate that, very similar to the first rotation. So how I would incorporate all this, the signature with every, the rotations, it's pretty simple. The first rotation, which is Angelic, Heavens, and then after that do Know My Name, Ikers, Rage, and then maybe do activate one signature, maybe do possibly do Angelic, Heavens, and then do the rest of the two for the signature. So I'm gonna show you how it look like. The basic. And then we do the rest of the rotation. And then just do basic. And then any power that's available to use, or if you want move, you have to, and then do it again. But if you're doing Concentron and you're running low on health, the time's gonna run out, and you need to do massive, like a lot of damage, then you just activate any power that's available. Just activate any power that's available. And do basic. Build is not, she's not that difficult, but yeah, that's usually my rotation. That's usually how I play with her. Just to reiterate again, first rotation, Angelic, Heavens, pick a target that you're going to want to do massive damage, and once you have that specific target you want to do, activate Angelic, and then shortly after Heavens. Once the Heavens is done, then activate their other powers, which is Know My Name, Ikers, and then Rage. If you want to incorporate a signature, you can do it again. Angelic, Heavens, Know My Name, Ikers, Wrath. Maybe do a little bit of the basic, move around a little bit, and then activate maybe one signature, and then do Angelic, Heavens, again, rotation, Know My Name, or you can do Angelic, Heavens, the rest of the remainder of the signature, and then do the rotation number 2. Sounds confusing, but again, there's different ways you can do it. But the good thing about her signature, it allows you to activate it whenever you want to, which is good, but you don't want to take up too much time. Again, my advice for her signature is make sure you have a specific target and you do all the damage of the signature to the specific target. Maybe you just have had a bad luck, or I don't know. But from what I noticed, that her signature isn't that strong. It does do quite a bit of damage, but honestly, it's not that strong. I mean, I used I think over 8,200 Omegas or so, give or take, and again, her signature was barely pushing in the millions. When I have other characters using even 4,000 Omegas and they're doing way more massive damage with the signature, so she's a bit fragile. Keep that in mind. But other than that, she's good. She's fun. She can be strong. This is a decent build. Again, it's not the best build, but it's decent enough to where you can pass Cosmic Trial and hold your own in the raids. And yeah, hopefully you guys help you guys out. I know some people have been people requested me Angela because she's new, and some people were saying that she's not that great and so forth, but she's not that bad. Would I recommend her? Yeah, sure, give her a shot, give her a try. She's pretty fun to play with, but do keep in mind though, based on this build, you kind of have to have a single target you want to do massive damage and then activate those powers, but make sure you have a specific enemy you want to do damage, because again, her strongest powers are the ones that are specific. Her area powers are good, but those are specific powers like Know My Name and Rage. They're pretty strong. And yeah, that's my build guide for Angela. If you have any questions, again, leave it in the comment section below. Any requests for certain characters, I know I'm working on Psylocke. I know I'm working on that one. Having issues. I was trying to work on Gambit. I actually recorded Gambit, but for some reason it only recorded the audio, not the video, which is unfortunate. So I might have to redo Gambit again, but it's okay. It is what it is. But luckily I have Angela. So yeah, any requests for certain characters, please leave it in the comment section below. I am working on Psylocke. If you want to see more videos of mine, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me and does help out the channel a lot. And yeah, this is my build guide for Angela. Hope this helps you guys out. It's a decent build. It's not the best build, but hey, it allows me to hold my own at raids. So to me, it's more than enough. Alrighty, on to the next one. Bye bye.